Well, in the wake of 20 children and 8 adults being killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School,
people all over the world are left with emotional upsets and disturbances, as many of us are. We have pain, we have grief, we have sadness, we have mourning, and I'm sure that everybody in this room is experiencing some of those feelings. A natural prayer might be for the relief of those difficult to bear feelings. A natural prayer might be, as Jesus said just before the crucifixion, God, take this cup of suffering for me. And this emotional weight is too heavy to bear. But what we truly need to do at this time is to affirm that we have the spiritual strength to bear these feelings through. And by doing so, we share in the suffering with all the people who have been touched the most difficult way by this. The families directly affected by the events that took place have been altered forever. Their world has changed, never to be changed back. The children who witness this will carry some degree of trauma in their memories forever. The memories friends and families hold of those whose lives were cut short will hold some degree of sadness and grief forever. And we are being called forward to help them carry that. Even though it affects us personally in many ways, we can step forward and help lighten the burden of those who are closest. In addition to the emotional suffering that we all face, there's also a sense of anger and a sense of outrage that demands answers to some very difficult questions. Why did this happen? How did this happen? What caused the attacker to do this? What can we do to make sure situations like this never happen again? And the only answer that I have is, I don't know. Yet in the midst of all these unanswered questions, what I do know is that it's very important we don't fall into a state of hopelessness and helplessness. It's important that we don't fall into the states of fear and anger that can paralyze us to the point of doing nothing. It's important that we don't fall into the state of total defeat and resign to the conclusion that this is just the way the world is. The aftermath of Sandy Hook was a crushing blow for all of us. We have all fallen into the shock of it all, and these are the most difficult of times for all of us. And there are those who have fallen harder than most. So it's up to us in this room to get back up, regain our strength, and through our words, thoughts, actions, and prayers, be there for those who have been hurt the deepest. We're being called on to help those carry the heavy and painful burden of their loss and assure them that they're not alone. As word of this tragedy has spread, leaders from around the world, even our political adversaries, have ushered forth words of caring and compassion. Millions, if not billions, of people have put aside their daily squabbles, their daily complaints, to put their energy into prayers for the people. And it is this uniting of consciousness of people from every race, people from every nation, people from every culture, people from every community. It is this uniting in consciousness that will make the difference for the better. And each and every one of us can do that. So the rest of the service this morning will be a time of prayer and meditation, for we know in doing so we are providing relief and we are providing benefit to our wounded world. I invite you to make yourself comfortable. Take a deep breath, slowly exhale, and go to that place within where you can find a sense of peace that passes all understanding. Although our faith, our hope, our love has been diminished, and our word has been wounded, we move on. This morning we are faced with a choice to make as to what direction we will go. We can follow the path of darkness with anger, fear, outrage, and resentment as our traveling companions. We can draw a line between ourselves and those who we think are responsible, those who we think should have done something, those who we think are somewhat to blame. Or we can follow the path of light with love, compassion, hope, and healing as our traveling companions. for that is what the world needs in this challenging time. We know it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. So let us be agents of the light that is given compassionately, tenderly, and with loving care to all those who are suffering. For all those who are numb with grief and can't see past the sorrow and the tears, let us walk beside them and be the light that guides the way. We bless those whose lives were taken with gratitude for the short time they were on this earth. We bless those who witnessed the event and survived with their solace, comfort, and caring. We bless those who lost loved ones with our willingness to help carry the heavy weight of their grief and mourning. We bless the surviving children by holding them in our hearts, easing their fears, showering them with love, and letting them know, even though bad things happen, this is still a good world. We bless the family of the person who committed this heinous crime. And we bless the person, the shooter of 20 children, 6 adults, his mother and himself. We ask that God relieve his tortured soul. We ask that he may be healed and made whole. And we ask, as time goes by, we may better understand his motive for doing this and find an opening for forgiveness. We give our gratitude to the doctors, nurses, paramedics, and aides for their steadfastness in dealing with the dead and the injured. We give our gratitude to the people in the area for their compassion and willingness to reach out and embrace the survivors. We give our gratitude to the teachers and counselors for their wisdom and skills as they begin to reestablish a sense of well-being in the children that survived. We give our gratitude for the healing power of Spirit that can ease the suffering and replenish the soul. It is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. And as time goes on, I encourage each of you every day to sit quietly, light a candle, and send out your love, your compassion, your peace, your healing power, not only to the people directly affected by this, but to the world as a whole. Collectively, we can join in consciousness, and we can move forward and find ways and means to make sure that we don't have to experience this in the future, that we can cure this illness that causes us to hurt each other. And as your individual prayer, I invite you to bring to mind a word or two that you'd like to see made manifest in the lives of all those affected by this event. A word you'd like to see made manifest in our world. And if you choose to say it aloud, please do so the rest of us can be united in your prayer. It makes no difference if the word has been said before. It makes no difference how many times you say it. Let us fill this room with words of encouragement and hope and peace, and the vision of a nonviolent future. I'll begin by saying understanding. Love.
Understanding.
God, grant us a serenity to accept those things we cannot change. Grant us the courage to change those things we can. And grant us the wisdom to know the difference. We pray that all people may be well. We pray that all people may be happy. We pray that all people may be free of all suffering. And so it is.
When it looked like the sun wasn't gonna shine anymore, God put a rainbow in the sky. When it looked like the sun wasn't gonna shine anymore, God put a rainbow in the sky. Look, look, look to the